one of the things that I think is interesting about sales is like you'll tend to find like a lot of really great people, natural leaders in there, but you'll also find a small percentage that are absolutely toxic individuals in
Oh,
sales, like in any
it's
company,
not even
right?
a small percentage. It's a
It's
fairly
not
large
small.
one.
It's a fairly large one, man. I mean, it's not like 50%, but I'd say it's like probably 20, 30%, maybe even 40%. Yeah, you see it. And I think like as you're hiring people, you're naturally going to, you want to try to filter those people out early on. But if you get that, like a toxic salesperson will ruin the motivation of everyone else underneath them, you know?
Oh,
Um, I,
dude, I
I
lived it.
yeah, yeah, you know it. And it typically, I mean, you typically see it in like roofing and car sales and solar sales and like some of the more like cutthroat sales industries is where you typically see them. I know you've seen that firsthand being where you are and all the company, all the roofing stuff you've done. But man, those people to me, like as a business leader, like I want to have great culture. Like and for me, great culture means like do I want to show up today and be with the team members that I'm there with? You know, do I genuinely care about the people that I'm with and do I think that they care about me? I think that's one of the hallmarks of culture, right? I don't think culture is like, you know, having nap pods or snacks in your office. That's not it. It's deeper than that. And when you have a toxic person like that doesn't help elevate you, it's not like friendly peer pressure. Let's grow together. Let's get better together. It's someone that's like, you know, F you, I got better. You know, when you start getting these like really toxic type competitions and you know, someone that's not willing to help you, they want to push you down so that they can get up. Like any type of salesperson like that would be my first on the list to go. But one of the things that can happen here is like that person might be your actual top salesman.
Uh-huh.
A lot of
In
times it
most
is.
cases,
A lot of times
yes.
it is, right? I would rather have three, four, five people that work well together that are 80% as effective as that one guy. Sometimes, and it can happen in production too. Like I see, being in marketing, I see it sometimes with like someone's really great at web or SEO or ads, and they're just toxic as hell, and they like don't want to help the people around them. They just want to put them down and showboat how they're better than everybody. I want that person off my team too. It's the same thing, you know. I think you like you said about education. You want the person, the team member that's willing to like educate and lift people up, not the person that's want to like showboat and put people down.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, I've had that, that was one of my very early lessons that I had to learn when I came into this role. I started hiring people for my sales team, started putting people in positions of management, and you don't realize, you're looking at people that come in and say, "Well, I can do 1 million in sales." And at the time, that seems like it's the most important thing. And I
Mhm.
let some people stick around way longer than they should.
That's the real danger. That's a real danger. If you don't get rid of that toxic person, the great people go. You know.
Yeah, and it happens, believe me. And then
Hmm.
you're stuck with these other people that you don't even like. And then
Hmm.
you come to find out they're not as great as they initially made themselves out to be.
Yep.
And you lost out on a huge amount of potential with some great people that left just because you were willing to accept, that's the standard. I always tell people what you're willing to accept is your standard. And if it's something where one guy is overshadowing the entire team and they're being just complete, what's about it, you got to cut it. And I've got rid of my
You
top
do.
sales rep many times, and that's advice I've given to people in roofing companies all over the country that are very successful. You don't want to lose $1 million producer, but what if it's costing you 2 million to keep that person? What if the other people step up when they say, you know what, he didn't allow
The
that crap
cost of
to
lost
happen.
opportunity and lost team members.
Yeah. And those people say, "Hey, you know what? He just got rid of that dude. Number one, we better give our best because we know that we're not indispensable because that guy was doing more than us." Or they say, "Yeah, you know what? He doesn't care so much about that as much as he does about building a winning team." And that's the kind of coach we want to be around. So I think getting rid of your best guys sometimes is the greatest move that a company can ever make. As weird as that sounds to normal people.
If they're not a good fit, like from a culture standpoint, I couldn't agree more. I think
Yeah.
one of the interesting things in businesses is like we look at like sales performance numbers. Like there are a million and one KPIs to measure sales performance and marketing performance and monetary growth and profits and all this stuff. It's incredibly hard to put a number on culture, right?
It's
Like
impossible,
how do
really.
you, yeah, it's next to impossible. Like how do you measure like how good your team culture is? It's really, really a hard thing to do. And it's way more subjective. It's not objective. It's not quantitative. I can't put a graph or percentage on it. But where you can see it is in like those team members. When if you have to fire that toxic employee that may be your number one guy, the other people see that not because you fired him because of numbers. That actually teaches, I think, a pretty valuable lesson that the performance numbers aren't the only goal in your company that matter, right? And maybe not even the biggest goal, because you fired that person even though they had the number one sales outcomes and your whole team. They were bringing other people down in morale and all these other kind of things. And so at that point, you say, "Hey, I'm getting rid of them." That's going to paint a pretty strong picture for your culture, because everyone's going to realize that, you know what, the biggest thing, the reason that Johnny over there got let go wasn't because of sale numbers. He's outperforming all of us, but it's because of culture. And we know that if we can't play together, if we aren't a good team, then I'm not even going to belong. I think that paints a really, really powerful lesson. Um,
Yeah.
and honestly, I would rather have people that are, I'm not saying that we need to have weak people in the wrong seats or anything. Like we still have to run businesses and have to be profitable, but I would rather take a few people that were B salesmen that had a great culture than have one A salesman on my team that was an absolute, you know, whatever adjective you want to put in there. You know what I mean? That's my personal take. I'd rather put culture first over results.
I agree, because then the people that were B players, they have a tendency to raise their game and they say, you
They
know
do.
what? This is a win. I want to be a part of this team and I'm going to step my game up. And then you get a team of 3 or 4 A players where before you had one with 3 or 4 Bs or Cs.
Yeah.
And I think that's the thing that I always look for in a person is their character, their attitude, their demeanor. I don't
Mhm.
care. And when I hire sales reps in my roofing business, I always go out of my way to say, I don't want people with previous sales or roofing experience if possible. I'll
Yeah.
take some on if I have to, but if you have none and I can just take a clean slate and teach you, the only thing I'm looking at that point is this person likable? Is this person honest? Is this person trustworthy? Is this person
Yeah.
going to show up and be here and do the right things? And I can teach the skills. The things that you can't teach
It's really hard to
are
teach character. Really
you
hard to teach
can't,
character.
and
Yeah,
it can be
it's
exposed very quickly.
next to impossible. Yeah.
Yep. A little bit of success will show exactly who somebody is. And I've misjudged people in the past and they're no longer with me. And I'm fine with
Mhm.
that. And I remember I had one of my business partners years ago. We had a little bit of a discussion about it where I let our top producer go and I didn't feel any shame about it. I was totally fine. And it was like, yeah, but that's X amount of dollars and yada, yada. And I said, well, if that's all this is, then I don't even want to be a part of my own team because I don't care. Like I don't
Mhm.
like this guy and I don't see people as a dollar sign. I see him as a human. And I'll be damned if everybody on my team didn't step their game up once that guy left and people came to me and said, hey, thank you. Like he was
Yeah.
kind of a dick and we didn't like him. And
It's
we didn't think
amazing.
you would ever get rid of him because we thought that the numbers were more important. And with roofing companies, I mean, that happens a lot. A lot of people that get into ownership roles of roofing companies don't have experience. They've never been through the processes. They basically, a lot of them are guys that started swinging hammers
Yeah.
and they just kind of got to the point where they said, well, the owner's rich. So I'm going to do that because I want to get rich too. But you don't have the right mentality. You've got the
Mhm.
mentality of, I just need to hire a bunch of people and it's a numbers game is what they say, but I don't agree with that at all. I think if you hire 10 people and 2 of them stick around, you're doing all right.
Yeah.
But I don't
Yeah.
know why you would hire the other 8 just for the sake of bringing people in and testing them. I'm very specific and I pick the people that I think will do well for me. And I don't mess with the other ones. I'm not going to bring someone in if I get a bad vibe. I'm not going to even offer them a position. And, I got time, not to be wasted.
Hey, if you found this video helpful, please like and subscribe. If you're looking for help growing your contracting business, I invite you to join my free community. In there, we go live with amazing trainings, share resources and downloads, plus you get free help from me and from peers. That link is down below to join, and we'll see you in the next video.